We good? Oh, I can see it up there, okay.
First time, Maureen. We're live.
Okay, and let's call the meeting to order and stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will assume no public comment since nobody's here. That takes us into the reports. First item we'll have is the approval of the meeting minutes from last month. And then we'll go into the informational items. Do we have any for this evening on Parkway West, Michelle?
Wait till next week.
And Mr. Razzo? Nothing on Shasta? Thank you. PSBA, I'm not sure. I think everyone received the email, but about Act 51 passing, about security breaches where personal data may have been disclosed, that we now have, 3 days to notify the county DA and 7 days to notify those who may have been affected. So that condenses that timeline, which sounds fair, but did I miss anything, Mike? Because I think that notice came.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Yeah. May I add one thing to it?
Well, the policy.
It's done.
Okay.
I have the policy written. It's done. We're gonna send it off to Ms. Shaw tomorrow.
Okay.
It's done.
Because that's the other thing. We have to have a policy on it now, and it has
I
to
have
be
it.
reviewed annually.
Yes, so I have it. It's good.
Is it a new one, or,
Uh,
because there is like a data management policy that has never been,
Correct.
I don't
And
even
so
know if we even had it. It was like a missing policy.
we didn't have it. We do have it now. I grabbed it, and then I'll give it to you, and it matches everything that's in the
Yeah,
app.
it's
We're
in like
good.
the early 800s or the early 700s.
You got it. It's in the 800s. You're right. Yep.
Okay.
We're good. So I just finished it yesterday, and we'll send it over tomorrow.
I don't want to go there.
Great. Any news from the boroughs? Okay. We did meet in executive session prior to this meeting for student and personnel matters. And that takes us into the reports. Dr. Stropke, Superintendent Report.
Thank you, Mrs. Lyden. There are the items there, 1 through 5 are just second readings of the policies that we had first readings last month. So any concerns or questions, let Ms. Shaw or myself know. We're going to bring back the peer jury program now that we have our police officer in place and reestablish that. So just need approval, as we do every year, for the peer jury. For anybody who has not been here, what the peer jury is that the peer jury will consist of students that will be hand-selected from the high school. A lot of the students are from our National Honor Society, who will serve as a jury for some of the minor offenses and that we have, and that's why it's called a peer jury. They'll listen to a case, and the kids will come forth. It'll be coordinated through our police officer, Mr. Porofsky. That'll be involved. Go ahead, Mr.
I just want to add, while you guys are going to be approving it this month, it does not necessarily mean it'll be in place this month or soon. We're making sure we have all the right people, right students, and the right procedures. We just want to have that flexibility to start it as soon as we have it in place. But it's not a guarantee that it'll start this month or even next month. We just want to make sure we have everything in line, have it the proper way, and done that way it's successful rather than in prior years.
Yeah, I'm not thinking we'll probably have it started until January or February, to be honest with you, second semester. So, but it will be back with some revamping.
So has that been gone since we haven't had a school resource officer?
I think 17 and 18 was last year, 18, 19.
It was before COVID.
It was before COVID.
Yeah, it was the last
year.
Yeah, it's
Was it
kind
under
of fade.
Bruner or just Vanetta?
It was Bruner.
John Bruner.
It was Bruner.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it
thought
was.
he did it, yeah.
It was,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I heard good things about it when it was in place.
Yeah.
So are we handling the cases now?
What's that?
How are we handling the cases now?
All of the cases now just are through the principals, or if they're big, well, always if they're the heavy, what I call the heavier duty cases. A lot of your fighting or vaping situations, they all go in front of the magistrate. These are more things, like we may be dealing with the students, that are more of continuous violations of the, dress code, or violations of the cell phone use, well, not cell phone, electronic devices policy. I want to say still cell phone use, it's not what it's called anymore. But things of a little bit minor, but it's a good experience. We've had a number of students who have been on the jury that have then gone into law, because they have learned, whatever, and so, it's a good experience for them too, but we're bringing it back. So, but it's gonna take a little bit of time to get it into place, so at least we have it started. Yeah. Then the last item, and I apologize for this, but Ms. Shaw and I had talked at the last policy committee meeting, we still, in many of the policies, have the titles of Director of Finance and Human Resources and the Director of Curriculum Instruction Assessment, Staff Development, and Director of Buildings, Grounds, and Transportation, but all those titles have changed. So instead of going back and changing every single policy, we're just going to have a motion just to change those titles, and then everywhere I could just go in then and just, without bothering Ms. Shaw and the committee, and just go ahead and change those titles. So that's all it is. It's just title change. Because we don't have those positions anymore. They're called something else. So. And that concludes the report.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Personnel, Ms. Shaw?
We have one termination. We also have a retirement. We have appointments in the food service personnel, support positions, and an activity sponsor. We have three motions for, well, it's one motion, but three requests for a family and medical leave. And a short personnel report.
I just had a question. Linda Stelly, I think she's the yearbook sponsor, am I correct?
Yes.
So what will happen if she's retiring January 1st?
So we're hoping to have someone else take over. If not, ultimately it's going to come down to Mr. Leonard working on it. We're hoping a lot of things are in place prior to that. We have it. It sort of is putting us in a bad thing. We've also reached out to her in prior years. Judy Fritz has done some clubs where she continued on once she retired. She's eligible to do that because it's not really her pay. So we're talking with Linda to hope that she would just continue through the year and then next year move on. So there hasn't been a commitment, but we're hoping that's the thing. I know Ms. Fritz, back when she retired, she stuck on with the JO Medical Club through the end of the year and then sort of, faded out then. So we're hoping that's sort of where it stays, but there's nothing definitive yet. So that's our hope, is that Linda, does it, but we're sort of talking to her.
Okay.
And I'll just say on behalf of the district, I do want to thank Linda for her 26 years of working here in the district and the work that she has put in. Ms. Lindsay has brought forth. Linda, for many years, has been our yearbook sponsor for many of those years. Not all of them, but for many. And I just want to thank, and I really wish her the best, as she moves on. So.
And finance, we have the accounts payable approval. It's up a little bit from the typical month, so maybe Mr. Kubiak, you can just share why it's higher this month.
Yeah, I think we had one bond payment for some interest in there, and we had a lot of our tuition for some of our schools start finally for the start of the year. We usually wait a few months to make sure the enrollment and the kids actually show up there. So that's a lot of it, but I'll double check the detail and make sure.
Thank you. Continued membership in the Joint Purchasing Board, and that's just for membership. We're not obligated to make any purchases. And just in the notes, we're assigning Mr. Kubiak and Mr. Jesness as the purchasing, point of contact. Okay. And contract extension approval for Direct Energy, and they're committing to the same or lower
Yes,
pricing?
so, it's a little lower, so we go through the AIU, through the Joint Purchasing Committee. They were able to get a lesser price, a little decrease Security, so we're sort of locking in with them. We've tried in the past to go out on our own, usually isn't beneficial, so we're just gonna continue with them, get their price.
That's for electric supply with a start date of January 2024, so our current runs until then.
Correct, yes.
Okay. By doing it ahead of time, they're giving us a better price. That's it for finance.
That's it for the agenda.
That's it for the agenda. Any other discussions? We don't have public comment because nobody's here, so, I did have one thing that I wanted to bring up, since we don't have any new board members coming on. This was suggested the other day. Since we don't have any new board members coming on, we don't need a reorganization meeting, at least it should be quick, to put it that way, not that we don't need it. And the agenda seems to be short, so is anyone opposed to us having only one meeting in December?
Oh, I wish we had
Not at all.
three. Come on now.
So we'll just, instead of, the first date, we'll do everything, including the voting. Okay.
And we will advertise that as reorganization / business legislative, and we'll advertise that for that day, and we'll just have one. Then we'll reconvene in January.
So which one would that be then? What would it take the place of?
The work
The
Work
work sessions. So instead of having
Okay,
a
so
reorganization,
the business would be eliminated,
right, yeah, instead of having a reorganization,
No, it's like the 6th or the 7th.
it's a six,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the early.
It's early, because you have to, by school code, you have to have a reorganization meeting the first week of December.
Okay.
So instead of, and I could tell you right now, the agenda is gonna be just as short, if not shorter. And, to Mrs. Leiden's point, her and I talked a little bit, to come out another evening for something short like this. And, you know, even to the point, it might be something that the board wants to even consider in the future of maybe not always having a work session and a business legislative every month, but maybe just having one board meeting a month, since we do have so many committees that are very active and presenting it. Because I know it gets difficult with everybody in their families and stuff, and just talking with and things. So, you know, maybe, you know, even though we're scheduled for all these meetings, you know, 2 meetings in January through June, maybe we only do one meeting, and it's just, you know, instead that first or the second Tuesday, maybe it's just the third Tuesday, and it's just business legislative, everybody knows what's on there. I mean, it's just a thought, you know, because I know a lot of people are busy, so, you know, we're only required by school code, well, I say we, I am part of the
Every 2
board.
months.
We're only required
Six total.
you're only required 6.
Yeah.
And it's not that, we have a lot of business, and this board has functioned extremely well, but, you know, even to Miss Lindsay's point, you know, she laughed a little bit, it's true. Don't we have, sometimes there's weeks we have 2, 3, 4, 5 meetings, and it gets to be a lot for all of you.
They overlap.
It really gets a lot of overlap, so maybe that's something you want to think of moving forward, and we just go down to one meeting a month as well, too, instead of having the rehearsal tonight and then the meeting next week, so.
Cast that vote now?
Well, that's up to you. I just put that out there. I'm not allowed to put that. That's up to your president, so.
I'd like to see Mike twice.
That's up to your president.
I just think it's a lot more, transparent when we have the work sessions ahead of time,
Yes.
and then we have the business,
Yes.
because how can you vote on something you just heard about tonight? I can just see
Yes.
the public saying that.
Yeah, the board has been very, for the last 11 years, the board's been very, very transparent on that, too.
Yeah.
But it's something to think about.
Yeah, no matter what, we do
Why
have
would
to
you say
have time.
11, Bill?
11.
We're still on before that.
Oh, I caught it. I'm a little slow tonight.
That's okay.
But that's all
Can
right.
I make a motion to adjourn?
Yes, a good idea.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.